Greetings, loved ones. I'm Gracie Murphy, president of HOC Justice Project and author of Journey to Justice, Finding God and Destiny in the Darkness. You can find my book on Amazon. For the last 16 years, we've been working in Honduras to rescue, care for, and redeem, empower justice for women and children who suffer violence. For more information on our ministry, you can check out our website, which is listed below. To help get these messages out, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit the like button, and please share these messages with others. You never know. Just by doing so, you could save a life. Today, we're going to talk about our responsibility in relation to violence against women and children. In yesterday's episode, we discussed that education is needed to teach society that violence against women is wrong, that there is not enough help and funding to support the needs of these victims, and that support and education are critical in creating a safer environment for everybody. But it doesn't end with education. If a victim learns abuse is wrong and tells somebody about it, and the person they tell does nothing, the victim remains in their suffering and loses hope of ever being free from violence. But when a victim tells someone and that person does something about it, and that leads to their rescue, they then have a hope for a better life and change can occur. We need to make sure that blame goes where it belongs, on the offenders. By intervening and ending violence against women and children, everybody is safer. Violence causes low self-esteem in its victims, which leads to many other issues and problems that can create a devastating cycle that is difficult to escape from. But with help, there is hope. All forms of violence against women and children impact society, and by empowering women and children through education, intervention, and rescue, and programs for healing and redemption, we can change the impact on society. There will be help and programs for victims, giving each community a chance to win this battle against abuse and violence. If this problem is not brought to an end, then the cycle will continue, leading to bigger and bigger problems down the road. So what does this mean for us, for any of us, regardless of our faith? We can see what needs to be done on the human level to reduce violence against women and children. But what does God say? And again, I'm talking from my position of faith. In Isaiah 59:4, God says, no one calls for justice. In Isaiah 59, verses 8 to 9, God says, the way of peace they do not know. There is no justice in their paths. They have turned them into crooked roads. No one who walks in them will know peace. So justice is far from us, and righteousness does not reach us. In Isaiah 59:11, God says we look for justice but find none. You can read the entire book of Isaiah 59 and see clearly that the things described in this chapter reflect the condition of the world in which we live today. Going further down to Isaiah 59, verses 14 through 16, where it says, so justice is driven back, and righteousness stands at a distance. Truth has stumbled in the streets, and honesty cannot enter. Truth is nowhere to be found, and whoever shuns evil becomes a prey. The Lord looked and was displeased that there was no justice. He saw that there was no one. He was appalled that there was no one to intervene. That is one of my most favorite scriptures in the Bible. Everyone talks about justice these days. Talk is one thing, action is another. We need to not just talk about justice, but to do justice. We need to become an active part of pursuing justice in our communities. And please forgive the noise, it's just where we live. Today, I'm going to share with you some basic principles of biblical justice. The Hebrew word for justice, mishpat, there's three words actually, but this is one, means to treat people equitably and giving people their rights or what they are due, whether it is punishment, protection, or care. In the Bible, when you see the word mishpat, it describes taking up the care and the cause of the widows, orphans, immigrants, and the poor. These groups of people are called the quartet of the vulnerable. Vulnerable people have no power. They are the invisibles of society. They are the people on whom others prey and abuse. God requires us to care for those who are vulnerable. And who are the vulnerable? They are women, children, elderly, the disabled, homeless, and any other sector of society that is powerless. Basically, the mishpat, the justness of a society, is evaluated by how that society treats people in vulnerable groups. Any neglect shown to the needs of the vulnerables is not merely a lack of mercy or charity, but is actually a violation of justice. That's impactful. In Isaiah 61:8, God says, "For I, the Lord, love justice." In Isaiah 59, as we read a minute ago, God said he was appalled to see that there was no one to intervene. In the Spanish version, I love the Spanish version, it says God was disgustado, or disgusted, to see that there was no one to intervene. That's a powerful word, disgustado, disgusted. If we are to represent Christ, to do the things he did and reflect his love to the broken, then we must participate in the rescue, care, redemption, and empowerment of those in vulnerable groups. Why should we be concerned for and respond to those who suffer? It is because God is concerned with them. As he said in Exodus 3 to Moses, as I mentioned yesterday, he has heard the cries of his people. He has seen their suffering and he has come down to rescue them. How did he rescue them? By sending Moses. How does God rescue those who suffer oppression? By sending us. Jesus identifies with the powerless, the invisible, and the hurting. He takes up their cause. He is a father to the fatherless, a defender of widows. You can see that in Psalm 68:4-5. What does God tell us to do? In Micah 6:8, it says, "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." Another Hebrew word relating to justice is tzedakah, or zedek, which means to make things right, being just, or being righteous. This refers to how a person conducts all relationships with fairness, generosity, and equity. Jesus made things right between us and God. Jesus did tzedakah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Tzadeqah. Jesus told us to do the same as he did, which means we must also make things right when we encounter wrong. Our mishpat, how we treat those who are vulnerable, will be evaluated by God himself when we stand before him. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? This series is dedicated in honor of Gabby Pettito, a bright young woman whom the world has lost because of gender violence. You could be the person who saves a life. You are called, we are all called, to be champions for justice. Those who suffer violence need those who love them and those who don't even know them to step out and reach out to them, to give them the courage and the help they need to leave before it is too late. If you are a victim of violence, know this: God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. If you are a victim of violence or you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help or reach out to somebody. Please reach out to somebody. To help get these messages out, please subscribe to our channel so you won't miss a single episode. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and please share these messages with others. You never know. By sharing these messages, you could save a life. If you, your organization, church, ministry, school, or business would like for us to provide training to your people, we can arrange it. Just email me at my address in the description. Tomorrow, we will talk more about our responsibility in response to victims of violence against women and children. Until then, God bless you.